Is it on?
I just had too many fruit on, but you gotta get rid of them, so can't handle them.
It could be. Did you turn that on just now?
Yes.
Okay. Making sure it was wrong.
All right. I have 9:30, gentlemen and ladies. Call the meeting to order. First item is on the minutes. We have none, so there are no minutes. I apologize. Strike that.
We'll just
Can we open in prayer like we normally do?
Somebody want to open in prayer?
Jim would do it.
Jim?
I'll do it.
All right.
Father, we do thank you for allowing us to have this meeting in a free country, Lord, and everybody express their views. And we thank you and for that privilege. And we just now ask that you would be amongst us here, God, and just guide us and direct us and make everything that we do be acceptable in your sight. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, on the agenda, I have one thing to add. Ken will speak on a topic prior to the on membership prior to the tab 1. So do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that change?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Agenda is approved. County Attorney Ken Evers, you're up.
All right. Earlier this week, at the request of one of our county commissioners, I went back and looked. These comments are really directed more, Donald, for your benefit, and John and Russ, the 3 new IDA appointees. I went back and looked, and I would think that it would make sense for each of you to do the same on the rankings and the tally sheets on what happened at the board meeting the other day. And I'll say that I don't understand them. It's confusing, and the math doesn't really make any sense to me on how it came out the way it did. I have had conversations personally with board members, and I believe that we'll be holding either a special meeting or doing it at a regular meeting to reconsider the appointments. And it's not. I don't.
You're talking about BOCC.
The BOCC on the IDA appointments. I do know that there is a feeling that they don't want anyone to feel disenfranchised, and what I really expect is to reaffirm the 3 appointments. That's what, if I'm asked to predict, I think that I'm being careful because I have a commissioner in the room, and I'm trying not to convey communications.
Would you like me to leave?
It would make it easier. Seriously, it really would.
Close the door too late now. Don't leave, Jim.
I got in trouble last time I asked a guy to leave.
I know. Well, he volunteered. I wasn't going to ask him to. But I really have reason to believe that there is a general feeling that they're happy with the appointments. But the process, if challenged, you can't make heads or tails of the ranking sheets. You probably all observed what was going on up there as far as at the end of the table, and it's a couple of the commissioners ranked 1 through 15 of the 15 applicants, which is what they should have done, and then take the top 3 vote getters. I don't remember a whole lot of specifics, but Donald, I can tell you, I remember you had 2 number 1 votes, which would have put you as one of the top 3 if everybody had done it correctly. So I don't expect the result to change. I expect a board meeting where they really want to affirm the 3 that are appointed, but redoing it so that they have the prerogative to say we want these 3 people without even ranking them.
Sure.
That's what they have the prerogative to
Oh,
do.
yeah.
But when they say we're going to rank them, and then the process and the math doesn't work, it's subject to being attacked. So I didn't know what had gone on down there as far as the math, but when I went to Sandy's office and pulled her file folder out and looked at it, I could make heads or nor tails out of it. It didn't make any.
15 to 1.
That's right.
Total points and it's simple.
That's right, and it was really not done that way, I'll tell you. And the rules that they recently adopted have a provision in them that describe the appointment to these committees and boards, and that's exactly, Mike, the way it's described it's supposed to be done. Rank all the applicants, 1 through however many, and you rank your first priority number 1, so the low score wins. The 3 candidates with the lowest total win. And that's not the way it was done. Only 2 commissioners ranked 1 through 15. The other 3 ranked 1, 2, 3. And when you try to start, how do you do that? How do you take, Donald, for instance, had 2 number 1 votes, okay?
The other 3 didn't vote.
But the other 3 didn't put a vote for any of the other candidates. They might have voted for John Russ and somebody else. And so the math doesn't work, because if you put zeros in,
It wasn't apples for apples.
it wasn't apples for apples.
Have you had anybody challenge the vote? Or?
The public records requests have already been made and the documents have been produced. So there's a general feeling that it needs to be cleaned up and fixed. And I can say without Minor in the room, but I feel like I feel like they want to appoint the 3 that are appointed. They don't want anybody to be disenfranchised, but they want to clean it up. So what I'm going to ask you to do today is not vote on this budget, the 3 new.
Oh, okay.
Just for that reason. You're here, you're getting educated, you've seen it, I think you've met with them, and I don't feel any reason to think it's going to change. I just, that's just the way we need to do it till we get it cleaned up.
My question goes to, should I even be here?
It's a public meeting.
You can
Public meeting.
You come as just a guest if you want to.
Yeah, and I think you should, because the more you pick up and learn, you'll hit the ground running when you
Donald's
do.
been to every meeting, so he knows exactly what.
Yeah, I know what's going on.
Ken, let me,
He said, John,
well, when it looked confusing to me that the commissioners had given those and said, okay, y'all rank them right quick, whatever. Well, they've got it, why, they couldn't have ranked ahead of time? They couldn't have had it? Is that not sunshine?
There were applications still flowing in the day of the board meeting. And so when Minor made the comment about not wanting to vote on all 15 of them, is because he hadn't had any time to look at all 15 applications if there was somebody he didn't know. That's why they narrowed it to 3. I think there
Probably
was
really should have been a cutoff date.
I think that there should be, and I think that there was some miscommunication going on too. I thought what they were doing down at my end of the table was they were ranking all 15 and going to take the top 3. I thought that's what was going on, and I see that I guess 2 of them did 1 through 15, and the other 3 did 1 to 3.
Still, you do it backward,
1 to
15
1.
down, and you add the points, and it's done. When you start ranking them 1, 2, 3, then you're getting all kind of confusion.
Yeah, it really
things for
should.
people.
Your number 1 pick should get 15.
15, right. And then
Well, the
you-
way their rules read is the opposite. They say
Oh.
take your number 1
Oh.
pick and make them number 1, and then rank them 1
I
through
think
15.
that ranking-
Then you, like you say, you're going to have the lowest.
The low
number
score
win.
wins.
Lowest,
Right.
no problem.
But everybody
They
has
need
to
to
vote.
understand
Yeah.
that going in.
That ranking process is done that way though, because when you categorize people, you tend to think of my number 1 choice, my number 2 choice, my number 3 choice. And I guess over the years, when they figure these ranking processes out, they ended up doing it low to high.
But each commissioner has to vote 1 through 15.
For all of them.
Yeah, for all.
Everyone.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you can't just.
That's what happened that messed it all up as far as apples to apples, and is you had a couple, 3 of them that just voted 1, 2, 3 on 15, and what do you do with the other 12 that they didn't assign any number to?
But they got a vote from somebody else.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Some of those other 12.
Right. Right, and so you have no way of mathematically making it work. So the point of all of this, I'm too long-winded, is just that I wanted to ask the three of you not to vote today, and there's going to be a board meeting at which I expect them to affirm the appointments.
So we don't need to meet with Travis Bond.
Yeah,
No, I think we should
yeah,
still
just
meet. I don't-
keep, yes, yes.
Come on in.
Yeah, because I don't think there's any chance of y'all not being.
I think
We
it's
need
a
to make sure you get educated on that.
it's just formally casting a vote. I think you should take every opportunity to educate yourself on what's going on because I expect you to be here.
Okay, we're inviting Minor back in, so.
Now, did you have a glass on the wall, push listening, like we used to do as kids?
I do apologize that this happened, and hopefully we can resolve it without any hard feelings or anything.
All
I think we'll probably, I will call a meeting, not wait till the regular meeting so we can get this behind us. We don't need to let it drag out.
Very good. Thank you all. Tab 1 is adoption of the IDA budget for the fiscal year 2012 through 2013 by resolution. There is a copy of the resolution and proposed budget attached.
Have we gone over that already?
We have gone, this is
We've gone over
our
the
third
numbers.
time.
Yes, the
We're
numbers.
going over there.
And
Nothing's changed.
who would like to present and read through the resolution? Mr. Lambert?
The resolution is entitled Hardy County Industrial Development Authority Resolution 12-05, a resolution of Hardy County Industrial Development Authority adopting a budget for fiscal year 2012-13, providing for severability and providing for an effective date. Whereas the Hardy County Industrial Development Authority is now registered as a special district under Florida law, and whereas Section 418, subsection 3, Florida Statutes 2011 requires each special district adopt its annual budget by resolution, and whereas notice of the public meeting to adopt the budget has been properly advertised, now therefore be it resolved by the Hardy County Industrial Development Authority, Section 1, incorporation of recitals. The above recitals are hereby incorporated. Section 2, adoption of budget. The budget attached hereto as Exhibit A is hereby adopted for fiscal year 2012-13. Section 3, severability. If any portion or section of this resolution is ever determined to be invalid by any court of competent jurisdiction, the invalid section or provision shall be severed from the remainder, and the remaining portions shall be enforced or applied. Section 4, effective date. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption. Approved and adopted this 28th day of September 2012 by the Hardy County Industrial Development Authority. And upon your vote, the chairman will sign it.
One question. Do we need to be in this, what if we want to change the budget? Because we sometimes,
The budget can be amended.
but it doesn't have to be in this resolution to say it's amended or changed?
No.
Does anyone have any questions whatsoever about the budget? This is what we have approved. This, of course, is just for approving the resolution, but I think this is the best time if there's anything that,
We would have done this in the last meeting with this resolution, but it just slipped through the cracks, and I thought we could verbally do the resolution, and we determined not to do that. I had a discussion with the Auditor General about it, and he looked at me and said, Bill, he said this, he said, I'd hate for you to spend advertising money. He said, I'd just take the audit hit. And I said, well, I don't know where they'd hit me. I'm full of holes. So I felt like after talking to Ken that we should go ahead and call this meeting and do this way and have it done properly.
Make a motion, we accept the resolution, or approve the resolution as written.
I have a motion. Do I have a second to approve the resolution?
Second.
Second from Jim C. Is there any discussion about the resolution? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We do have a quorum, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Of your 6.
Yes.
There's 5 out of 6. Four.
One, two.
I'm sorry, four. 4 out of 6. I apologize. Math is not my top subject. Bad thing to say. Thank you.
I don't think I'd have said
You don't
that.
have to calculate.
I let other people do that.
You'd rather have had that recorder right here.
We got it here. All right. I guess we go to County Attorney Ken Evers. Do you have any comments?
Said enough.
Is there any other business to be brought before?
I do need to raise one point that was raised this morning. Sarah and I were looking at the last year's budget. There are 2 draws left on Blue Water. I need some guidance as to whether or not we make those disbursements for September and October, or I just need to know how to deal with it.
Do you need to know guidance before we have our meetings with them, or not?
Well, the September draw, this is the last day of September, and the October draw probably wouldn't affect that, but we won't meet until the 8th. I suppose you can meet with them and we can determine that on whatever, a week from Tuesday. That's not that long, so if you're more comfortable, I'm good with
Well, yeah, let's talk to them first.
Yeah, I like that.
it. I'm good with that.
And it's going to be a big effort on their part, meeting with each one of us individually instead of as a meeting. So that's going to be a lot of talking on their part.
Should have that set up on Tuesday. Okay. I think that's prudent to do it that way. So we'll just hold it in abeyance and take it up on as an agenda item in October.
Are you going to be in every one of the meetings?
I can be around. If you tell me to be, I will.
Well, I want you in mine. I don't know if anybody else wants you in.
Okay. Well, I'll be available if any of you would like me to.
Bill, have you got any indication of what they're expecting or wanting or anything?
I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million, but you're going to see most of it going into payroll in Hardy County. And you just need to listen to their entire presentation.
3 million in addition to the 2 payments.
Yes. But it will start September, in November, or whenever you choose to start it. We're moving ahead with the retrofit of the Preco building. All that is going fairly smoothly, and I think we've got it worked out where there's not going to be a lot of major structural modifications to the building, mostly cosmetic. I will tell you that Rapid Systems is extremely interested in moving their entire Tampa operation here. I'll be working on some type of lease situation with them to present to you. I don't know if I'll have it ready by the October meeting, but they would bring another 15 to 22 jobs here from Tampa. So
Just
that,
paying in the Preco
and
building
they only
there.
want the upstairs area of the Preco building. It wouldn't impact anything that is being planned for Continuum on the bottom floor.
So Rapid Systems and Continuum are the two that are there.
And they have met, and they like the synergies between the two.
What's the other company that's in
Rapid Tech,
Yeah.
which is Brent Stevens and Kirk Thompson. And what I like about their presence in the building, and they need a very small area, but they know that building like the back of their hand from a tech standpoint. They get all of the conduit in there and all of the Cat 5 cabling, and I think that, and we've met with all of them, and it appears to be a real good start for utilizing the building.
Continuum has no trouble with him being there. I don't think so.
No, they're all good with all that. We
Could
could
be
not run into any
probably
conflict.
could be some synergism there.
Yeah, no, that's what we're after. And I've looked to see, I'm a little apprehensive. I don't like taking a tenant from an existing lease situation in
Unless
Hardy
it's Tampa.
County.
Oh, in Hardy County.
Yeah.
I don't mind taking Tampa.
But they are at a point where they're at. They need to have a little different space than what they have, and I have expressed to them to be very cautious about us recruiting them, that it needs to be their decision. If they want to choose to move up there, we certainly want to be in a position to accommodate them, because I'm just it's not a good situation. If you were leasing to them and we came along and offered them an alternative.
Well, we may have to deal with that financially.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to do for Continuum before they get here is have them come prepared with some pretty close numbers as to their contribution in the pie. You know, I know they've talked about that, but I'd like for us to hear. We've got X in it, and here's where it went out of our pockets.
Right.
Versus here's what we got from y'all and where it went.
And it's hard for a lot of people, even myself, to understand how expensive some of the stuff they've done when you don't see anything. They have done some, written a lot of code, but us that are not computer geeks don't know what all that means a lot. Because I know it's expensive, but I don't know.
But I think that would help us tremendously.
Yes.
Especially
All
knowing
of
that they're
those-
coming for more money.
all of those
We're gonna be
questions-
hit up on that pretty hard.
Yeah.
All of those questions can certainly be answered when you meet on Tuesday, and then if you need to have further public debate at our meeting the following Tuesday, I think you can certainly vet through that from however perspective you want to work it through. I am just extremely pleased with the evolution from where it was to Continuum.
Yes.
We would have been there probably back in April had we been able to more timely acquire the Preco building, and we just couldn't get there. And ultimately, all of the work on Blue Water, it had to be done out of town. And there was no other way to do it. And it's really no different. We're building spec buildings. We have to order those buildings somewhere else, and they build them and assemble them, and then they ship the kit in here, and they get put together. And in this instance, we're building the platform for Blue Water somewhere else, unfortunately. But henceforth, if we stay the course, all of those functions will happen here in Hardee County. And I am most impressed with Travis Bond, and he's a straight shooter. So.
What sort of computer classes does the college have here?
They have some. I've looked at. I wish I could tell you. I mean, I know they do a lot of the Excels and the Words and the basic things for sort of training for, because I have somebody taking one now. But I think they also have some the Microsoft, and
You can get a Microsoft certification there?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know for sure. I wish. I know they do have some. I don't.
Probably
know
there's some demand. They would have somebody that would offer that, I would think. I know Darren tried to do some of that at high school, and I think he was successful for a bit, and then just the demand played away because he's a certified Microsoft.
Well, they're going to want somebody that can write code. They don't.
That's really a totally different
Yeah.
industry when you
Yeah.
get down to
Yeah.
it.
I don't think they have any of that that I've
Oh,
seen.
I don't know. If they had someone that was teaching it, they could get so much more money in the private sector.
So maybe that they have to train internally.
That is the object. That's the essence of what we want to do.
But they'll probably get this local training first before they go to the highest step. won't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had a fairly lengthy discussion early this morning about how we would end up using workforce. And I basically told them, I said, you need to find the people that you feel like are the right mental acuity, that has the skills to do what you want them to do. And then I just told them to get with Sean Rigo, and I said, Sean, he's crackerjack, and he can figure out how to take the people that we want to get started in this program and work them through workforce, and then put them into the.
Well, the workforce does have some money.
Right, I told them that too. Told them,
But they may not need all this money they want from us.
We'll have to just see how that works out. I basically told him the same thing. I said it can be used as an offset. I just don't know.
Well, how long, I mean, we would have like $7.5 million in this, no, $5.5 million in this thing. How long do they plan on staying here, or do they even know? I mean, that's a lot of money.
They believe that it will become self-sustaining. I mean, they are here to incubate. I mean, where we're going now is we are taking people and training them and incubating this technology that involves platform development into the world. And we believe that it is true, pure economic development. What makes it so hard is that a lot of people don't understand precisely what they're doing. I mean, I can tell you, the little bit of programming I had in college 40 years ago is nothing like
I
what
know
they do
that.
today.
I mean, you know, like
But
turn
there are no real mediums for development for this stuff other than internal to companies. And
tech, you know, we've talked about this before. Tech is the way to go. I mean, that's here, and just 10 years from now, there's no telling. I mean, we may be able to walk through walls or something in 10 years. But I'm telling you, it's hard to sell in the community.
I understand.
This amount of money
Because
is
we're not
hard to sell.
because we're not building widgets or something that you can see and lay your hand on and see stuff shipped out in the truck. That's the problem.
That's why I like spec building.
It,
I can go feel it, touch it. I
exactly.
can see people walking around in there. I mean, I can see it. Spec building. A lot of people don't like spec buildings, but I do.
Me too.
To me, that's the way to go. I can go there and I can see that sucker.
I will tell you,
That's an issue. That's the main issue.
I
It is
don't,
a main issue.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't know where this will end up by the 8th or 9th meeting, but I had a very good conversation yesterday with Mike Willingham at Sebring Airport Authority, and he's been working with a engine manufacturing company that they just absolutely can't get them located at Sebring Airport. And he called and he said, Bill,
Send them here.
he said, before they leave the region, I want to give you a shot at them. And Sarah and I called the people yesterday and talked to them, and I have two shots at making this work. One is, and there's two really critical components. They need a floor in the building that will accommodate 1,000 pounds per foot. I have no idea how that correlates to 3,000 psi concrete,
Right.
but he told me that the equipment to manufacture these engines is going to be shipped in April from Germany, late March or April in Germany. So we have two options, and he needs exactly the building that we're building for Lightning Bay. And I may be able to go to Lightning Bay and say, what if we back you up to August, we put them in that building, retrofit the floor, work a deal with them and get them to come here. But then there's also another option of acquiring Scotty's building and just redoing the floor. And so I'm looking at both of those, and we'll continue down that path, and I hope by the 8th I'll have something.
If that's
Okay.
big enough, it's got to
What
be
kind of
big enough.
engines?
Yeah.
What kind of engines? Jets or props?
I'll give you a website to look at.
Solar.
Honda.
No.
I'm sorry, I had to say that.
Huh?
Honda one.
Question on our big foot Travis.
You must know.
My grandson raises the one.
What do you think about the idea of maybe more than one person in there? Maybe we have an EDC member and maybe we have a county commissioner go in there. You know, I mean, split us up into groups where.
Into where?
Yeah, commissioner and IDA would be fine.
And an EDC member would be fine. As
You got some
long-
of that
As
dual
long as
membership.
they're not
Where's this?
on ID.
The ones
Not
that are
yet, there's not
the
any
ones
dual-
that are not doing.
Not yet, there's any dual
If they're not
membership.
appointed yet, we can probably do
I mean,
that.
yeah, we are. but
Michael,
we're
you're
the
gonna file an
individuals.
objection to
The rest of these
that?
guys are not appointed.
We're just trying to be a little more expeditious and get through some processes.
I just think the more information you get out there, the more people, you know what I mean, the better it'll take, you know what I mean? Will help everybody. And if we've got, 30, 40 minutes, Will?
Yeah. I'll also tell you, since there's been issues, we have figured out a way to put 1 gigabyte of bandwidth into that building for about $200,000, and if we did it with fiber, it would be about $600,000. And we're satisfied that'll work, and I'm also working on the best way to do that. But I'm going to try to move us forward. It's going to be a little tedious, but in the coming year, I want to try to RFP, do a request for proposal for everything we do. And, you know, it'll take, I'd rather do that than grant processes. We contrive or come up, create what the objective of the board is, run it before you debate it, and then we advertise it and see what the responses are. I just feel like that'll be a much better public process.
To get 1 gigabyte, that's not coming from owner.
it will be, we will get it. There's a couple of ways we can get it. We can get CenturyLink to extend probably about from Bostic Road down. We can get Comcast to see if they can do it. The problem is they're going to want 12 grand a month, and they may want a large capital contribution to run the fiber. I want to give everyone a fair chance to bid on it, but we really will have basically a cable company, a telephone company, and Rapid Systems bidding on it. And it's kind of hard to come up with apples and apples, but all I care about is that we have a gig. That's a tremendous amount of bandwidth at the end of the day.
If we know the end result we want, we tell them this
We
is
just want a gig, give us the best way.
This is what we want. Tell us what the cost is, and then you can compare. That is apples to apples.
Just trying to do this stuff to minimize controversy. Good Lord knows we got enough. Doesn't matter what we do, somebody gripes about it.
Well, but again, if you tell them we want 1 gig, that's the minimum, and you say, tell us the cost of it,
And how you're going to do it.
Right.
And then what the monthly costs are.
well,
There's capital costs and monthly costs.
that's correct. I mean,
Monthly cost forever?
Could be.
Yeah, maintenance costs, so they're gonna charge you to come
The
make.
thing is with Rapid, if they bring their operations center here, they're going to need 300 megs of their own, and that's a big offset for us. And I'm just leery about doing that and looking like we're dealing unilaterally with someone. I don't have all the answers to all the rules right now.
Bill, it makes sense that they would want to come to Hardy County because all the surrounding counties are really looking for what we have.
They are.
And not just the surrounding county, but the whole state, especially rural counties like Polk County. They don't have anything except in the cities.
right.
So the rest of their counties, and that's pretty well the way it is all the way around the state. And they said, how did y'all do this? I said, well, call our economic development director. He can
Call Ken Evers.
lead you through it, but I think it's been a great thing for us. You know, it puts us for a change in the lead rather than.
Absolutely.
And I think technology, if you're not in the lead, you're too late probably. So that's just I just want to compliment y'all for doing that because we're the only county in the state that has broadband.
Wireless broadband over
Everybody
the
can
county.
get it, and it's not all.
We do have a few people that have not been able to get service to yet. I think they're at 2,300 customers right now.
There's some Polk County folks that's gone in some Manatee County and DeSoto. I know there's some in DeSoto and probably some in Edge of Highland. So it makes sense for them to expand in these other counties since they already got their footing.
Well, and they're in 16 other counties all the way up to almost Withlacoochee River. So this kind of this puts us.
And if we can
in-
get their headquarters here, as they expand, it'll expand here too, with jobs.
And I had them here Wednesday, and they're very, very satisfied this is the right move for their company. Just got to work through the
Don't
nuances.
spend too much money. I don't want to get on Frank's bad side again. Since I hit a winner this week in the paper.
Well, one thing about Rapid System, and I catch flack all the time about Rapid System. They got skin in the game.
Yeah.
They've got about $2.6 million of their cash in this
Their cash
game.
in the game. And once people understand that, most reasonable people say, okay, I didn't know that. But you still got some unreasonables.
Well,
You always gonna have them.
I would have never had high-speed internet at my house if that had been for Rapid.
Oh, I wouldn't.
But you know, once you get it, my mother went to her house the other day, and she's on the computer, and she'd have never done that.
Right.
She just wouldn't have done it. And she can get pictures. I mean, it's a good thing. Really is. Okay.
Do you have any other business, Bill?
Nothing that can't wait till the 8th. I'm good.
Do we have any comments from the councilman?
I'd just like to answer my question, do y'all have any problems with that? Say Minor wants to go with me,
No,
an
that's fine.
EDC member, you know what I mean? I just think the more people we can get exposed
Can
to
you
it.
double
We're
up
not going
on
to get our
some of-
panties in a wad with
You double up on
Governor the
some of
Sunshine, Mr. Attorney, with an EDC and an IDA member, the same
As long
thing.
as they're not
Only
on.
if
They better
if
than
it's,
same
if
board.
it's one of those dual member persons like
Two of us
Lori,
can-
if he's
two of
on
us,
both boards,
yeah.
and then you guys just have to make
But
certain.
me and
you don't
Donald
do the-
And we could be in there no problem right now, because he had,
Well, you could have you, and you could have an EDC member, and you could have a county commissioner, and you can have.
I would think it'd be safer not to have you and Donald on there. 'Cause I think he is going to be. He's arguably appointed, and
Okay.
we're trying to clean that up.
say Paul Robert,
Right.
me and Paul and Minor could.
Or
do
Doug,
it.
Doug Jensen
Yeah,
could be there.
Which we already have appointment times for everybody that's already in this room right
Right.
now. So we'll just take y'all's appointment times and
See
Christie
if we
can
can-
just get somebody else to go.
Stack on
with you.
someone else.
And
I
even-
mean, call the commissioners and ask them if they want
We'll
that,
do those too.
this is times available.
We'll get Sandy to
the
coordinate with the
chamber
commissioners and tell
Some
them
of
what
the-
times we have available.
The chamber has.
And they might not want to come, that's fine, but I think it should have to.
Are any other chamber members gonna listen? They had a
Could
big,
invite some of them.
big chamber group that met with them last week.
We can, yeah, the chamber vetting committee met with them last week, so they had a pretty large group from the chamber. But we can get with Casey and see if there are any additional board members that weren't on that committee that might want to sit in.
Is there
as
a
well.
is there a report from the vetting committee yet?
They'll have one. Yeah, they'll have it at the board meeting.
I'd like to have it prior if we could. I mean, it would be useful to have as much information before we have to make some kind of,
Right.
I mean, whatever decisions we're making. The more information we have from them, I'd rather have it today and have a week to look at it or whatever. So I would say as soon as
It's another
possible.
protocol we haven't worked out yet. It's a new process.
Well, I want.
Makes sense. Sir.
I want the information before I have to make a decision. And if I don't have, if I'm looking at the vetting information the day I'm to make a decision, that's not practical.
Sort of like the voting on the members.
That's correct. We need to have the information, and I'm not blaming, I'm just saying, we do, for the benefit of everyone, we need to
We can
have,
do that.
we need to have that information so we can read through it and understand it. We may have questions on that we need to ask before we can make any other decisions. So I think it's important for us to understand exactly what they have come to a conclusion on. Okay. Well, we do have one county commissioner. Sir, do you have any comments?
Yes, one more thing. We made that decision with CF and Finer, and I talked to Bill before. I said, when this thing is over, we need to do something to try to promote Finer. And they gave us a little magazine about this guy that had the automobile accident. And they said he was going to be a vegetable, and he went to Finer, and they got the picture thing in there. And I think that would be a wonderful promotional tool for them. If I had one of my family in that, and I read that book and looked at it, the information in it, I'd be beating their door down to get it.
I met his dad yesterday, and with tears in his eyes, he told me, I mean, this really happened. This kid came here as a vegetable, and today he is communicating. Now, this is not a Herculean effort of recovery, but he can turn his head back and forth. He can communicate through blinking his eyes. He can acknowledge both of his parents. I mean, and he can move his right side of his body, but he's not doing real good with his left yet. But this person is just, the dad is just overwhelmed with the progress that's been made there. And he was basically destined to be a vegetable. So,
And it's a picture thing. A picture's worth 1,000 words. It shows him before and during,
Right.
and where he is today with his kid there. And I think maybe we need to spend some money on promotional for Finer or something. I don't know.
But could we do
Between the
something?
chamber and this, I don't think Finers are going anywhere, but we need, if they lose all their clientele, they're gonna lose jobs because they can't keep everybody on if they don't have patients. So we need to, maybe we need to put that in all emergency rooms or, this kind of stuff where people come with those kind of people.
Our county website, you know what I mean? That should be in there, because
well,
that could draw people to this
Maybe in
county.
the chamber, and But they have a website, don't they?
Well, and you know,
That's what I'm
Finer
talking
is
about.
recognized as one of the regional areas of focus in the plan that was just put forth by the Regional Planning Council. And that's the document I've been so impressed with over the, I mean, it's a really good document, and Finer's certainly spotlighted there.
I'll just say, this is just a personal item about Finer, and Joe Brennick didn't really even know who I was when my father-in-law had two surgeries. We thought he had brain damage. Kentucky, the hospital there had given up on him, basically said put him in a nursing home, just let him, spend the rest of his life there. Joe sent one of his employees. I called Joe and I said, Joe, I've got this situation. I don't know what to do. This is not anything I know about. And he sent one of his employees up to evaluate him at his cost. He, after he found out the insurance wouldn't cover him, he said, if you can get him down here, I will guarantee you 60 days. And I will see what I can do to help. And I said, well, I mean, we don't have the money to pay it. He said, it costs me the same amount of money to run this facility whether he's here or not. So if you can get him down here. So we paid to have him airlifted down here. Joe sent an ambulance out because he was strapped in the bed. Took him there. He didn't know where he was at, who he was, anything. And 60 days later, he came to my house. My father-in-law was released, came to my house. He knew everything. He was clear-minded. They did physical therapy. They got all the psychologists, the speech therapists. They got everybody working with him. They got doctors to review all his drugs. All these various things he took for everything. And they cleared up a lot of that. They got him he's been in Kentucky living on his own for 2 years now, at his own house, without any help from anybody. So just from a perspective of having somebody like that in the community, that's a tremendous asset. And then when you look at the jobs they provide, and I agree with you, Mr. Bryant, anything that we could do that would be of assistance to somebody that has that type of jobs in the community certainly would be a worthwhile.
Well, we listened to all of these things at the hearing, but those things didn't have anything to do with the decision we had to make. That was the whole, everybody knows it's a wonderful thing and we need to promote it, but we had to make a decision that was not popular, and a lot of decisions we make are not popular with a lot of people. So, that comes with a job, and we asked for it, so we got to do
One of the problems I have with the situation of Finer is the situations where the employees aren't been arrested for whatever they did. That makes big news. Your story will never see the light of day. And
But
it's that
we can
way.
do something.
It's that way with a lot of things. Not only some of the decisions we make, the bad stuff hits paper, and but we don't know what we're doing here and how we think about it.
If you'd ever like that story to be in the paper, I certainly would tell it in a much better fashion, and in a more concise fashion.
Oh, one last thing, then I'll shut up. But Bionitrogen is meeting with Enterprise Florida today in Orlando. They're going to come from Orlando to here. They've got some other business to do here, but they are moving forward. I can't tell you where to go from here, but we're going to keep after it, see what happens.
Well, it's like a lot of situations may or may not happen,
Just got to keep going.
but you got to look at everyone. You got to create jobs.
Well, they're moving forward with their special exception, and they're spending money.
Any comments from appointee / maybe appointee, maybe?
Any comment from wannabes?
We're just heartbroken. We don't know what.
You'll be here. Hang on.
Bill, I think the comments you made to me about the bionitrogen deal, that what it could bring to the county, is something
Yeah.
that we need to start getting out there a little bit more now.
Yeah, if we're, again, Donald and I bantered this around a couple of times, but if we're only providing a a $2 million reimbursement grant for a rail spur to a company that invests $150 million in Hardee County, our investment gets recovered in year one of ad valorem taxes, twofold roughly. If you take 18 mills on 150 million, that's 1.8, and 9's $2.7 million in ad valorem taxes to the schools and the BOCC.
The biggest thing that bothers me, Bill, is the refusal or the pushback of vetting people. I got an article at home that was in the Tampa Tribune where the state, you probably read it, give a company down around Fort Lauderdale $20 million up front under Charlie Crist. A state representative was involved in it. He ended up getting a job there, and his son got a job there. And the cities and the county give them $40, $50 million. Well, they went bankrupt here this month. And of course, Governor Scott launched the investigation. And the number one thing they said the problem with that whole thing was these people were never vetted. If they'd have been vetted, the state would have never given them that money.
And all I'm saying to you is that if these
me.
people come up with $150 million, somebody vetted them somewhere.
Well,
And I mean, I don't know how you.
but they don't have the money. If they had the money, you wouldn't hear a word out of me.
But they'll have it before they
Get anything from us. We're talking about reimbursement. We're not talking about up front. We're talking about they build it all and produce it and say, voila, we've done it. And then we go, okay, we're going to remunerate you $2 million for your $150 million investment in our community. I don't know why you have to go deeper into the vetting.
I don't know, vetting seems, and we got a, in my opinion, a really great system of vetting now through the chamber. From that sheet I see, I like that. So
Well, the chamber,
I just like
the chamber,
to use them.
4 or 5 people from the chamber met with bionitrogen, and they really came to the same conclusion that if they bring their money,
Oh yeah.
and we're simply reimbursing them for essentially a rail spur, why do we care?
Well, our contribution's minute compared to theirs, but there's so many been coming here that just, they don't have anything but an idea.
Well,
These guys,
Wait,
we're not just like everything else. We're not going to do anything until they have the money. And if you prove they have the money's invested in Hardee County, then and only then will we reimburse. So it's an ongoing operational. Have how many employees?
which one?
Bionitrogen.
Bionitrogen will start with 40, but it has some incremental increases.
They have at least 40 employees and an ongoing operation before we give them back the $2 million.
Is that land out there, is that something that's gonna be set up for an industrial park, or they just have to, just a portion of it?
They're optioning like 40 acres. They're gonna option the whole 600 acres.
Oh, they are?
But they're only gonna buy 40
I didn't know that.
up front.
Okay.
What?
Does that have a major special exception?
See, the issue is it's got gas and rail right
Well, it's
there.
got everything. I was just wondering if there was any plans in the future or any thoughts in the future for the IDA buying
Utilize
that
more of it?
property. Or part of it.
We haven't had any
For
discussions
the
along
industrial
those
park.
lines.
Because I mean, the rail, the gas,
I have some
electricity is
concern
there.
about them optioning the whole thing.
Oh, the railroad's got some good property along the side of it.
Everything's there for an industrial park. Everything.
Well, natural gas.
Because if we can extend that spur,
It's got
somebody else wants it next door,
the
they can
230
extend that
lines
spur.
up there. I mean, you know,
Good thing.
Well,
it's got a
if
switching
they're
station right down the
automatically
road, and a
expanding,
power plant that can fire up and do
what
what it
difference it
wants.
makes.
Well, I mean,
They fill the whole.
that's a perfect spot.
We're rambling.
Yeah, one more person. Doug, do you have anything? You're a guest today.
No, the only question that comes to my mind when we talk about bionitrogen, and I agree 100%, I think they've been thoroughly vetted, or will have by the time they come up with 148 of money, but are they going to cause any noise impacts to Piner? Because they're also relatively close.
That's right.
There are not supposed to be any noise impacts there.
No smell.
Shouldn't be any smells.
Smell's what I worried about.
Uh,
But they did tell me they were gonna have mulch outside, you know, where they've chipped orange trees or something. You know, the pelletized stuff shouldn't have as much odor, but if you've got mulch outside raining like it does now, you're gonna have some of it.
Mulch plant has tons of it up there.
All right. I have, I plan this to be a short meeting, so if there's nothing important, I'll adjourn the meeting.
And don't forget you got your election of officers at the next meeting.
We're gonna try to set up a meeting for this CF meeting, money to determine what they wanted it used for. You know, all we got